Am I afraid that as a beat maker and a music producer, my job is going to be replaced by AI beat making platforms? Let me show you what is worrisome about these platforms. AI beat making platforms are getting better by the day. I want to talk about them. A whole bunch of news it has come out in the last week since I made the last video about AI platforms and whether or not they will replace beat makers. Let me jump into it. There's a lot to talk about, and this is the first time I think most of us have experienced this level of rapid change in the music business. This is crazier, I think, than what went down with Napster years ago. I think the most important question for us as beat makers is whether or not recording artists who are today buying beats from us are going to tomorrow switch over to these AI beat generating platforms. And I think that's always a question. I mean, there are lots of rappers right now who refuse to lease beats online, but producers are still leasing beats left and right. There are a lot of rappers who are turned off by the term tight beats, but realistically, to those of us who recognize the value of SEO, does that really matter to our business? Here's a conversation on Twitter that went down. Brittany B Music tweeted me and claimed that she would be using AI beat generators very quickly because she is sick of paying for beats. Now, I'm exhausted with this conversation. If you go on BeatStars right now, you're going to find producers selling commercial beat licenses for $5, some even $1. I collaborated with a producer way back. My mistake, he was selling beats for $1, I think, maybe even $2. Some ridiculous number so that every time the beat sold, I'd get like 50 cents sent to me, never again. But I think it's absolutely ridiculous to have this take. Number one, she's saying, God, this is a lot to break down. I don't know if any of you have been in a toxic and manipulative relationship. I know I certainly have. So this is familiar language to me. We're seeing this a lot. This technique is to devalue us as producers, break us down. You know, when you're in a toxic relationship and they break you down, tell you you're not good enough, tell you that you should be lucky that they're with you, that you should accept the abuse because no one else is going to love you. That's what a lot of these, it's a sick parallel to draw, but that's what a lot of people are doing. I mean, let me break this tweet down. One, she's saying there aren't beats on Billboard. There's songs on Billboard. Well, that's not true. There are plenty of beats on Billboard. Instrumental music is incredibly popular, I think, now more than ever. The other thing is she's blaming producers for the royalty rates when it comes to streaming platforms. That has nothing to do with us. I do agree we need to collectively change the systems so that we all earn more money. But when she says in her next tweet, most beats are programmed anyway. Beats have been programmed since forever. Michael Jackson's beats were programmed. Give me a fucking break. Not many play instruments. So why am I paying you $5K or more? One, no one's charging you $5K or more. And then here she is just devaluing us. She wants to break us down. For you to program a 2-minute loop, it's software. Absolutely not. Well, back in the 80s, it was drum machines. You were just pushing buttons there. I mean, a keyboard is just you pushing keys. A guitar is just you fingering frets. A drum set is just you banging on shit. Why are you trying to break people down and devalue them? I know why. Because you want to justify your own willingness to cut your collaborators completely out. Here's the thing about people who are just more than willing to welcome AI and they're excited to stop paying beat makers. They know deep down inside, maybe consciously, and they're just hiding it, maybe subconsciously, they haven't come to terms with it yet, but they know that this is a gross thing to want, and so they have to justify it somehow by using this type of language, devaluing us, dehumanizing us. You're just making a 2-minute loop. Come on, that's not valuable. I'm the real talent here. You should be grateful for me. So I think this type of language is sick. I don't accept it. And I also feel like an artist with these kinds of philosophies on collaboration and these kinds of opinions on music production in general probably isn't someone I want to work with anyway. I don't think it is someone I've worked with. If it is and I'm losing a customer, I guess good riddance. And it's not just producers this is happening to. This is happening to artists too. It's happening to Drake of all people. Well, because of the whole ghostwriter thing where, unless you've been living under a rock, a anonymous singer, songwriter, producer created a beat where he added the Metro Booming tag to it to pretend that it was a Metro Boomin beat, and then used AI assisted technology to make himself sound like both Drake and The Weeknd, and the song sounds like a real Drake and Weeknd collaboration. So Nathan Lenz is saying the music business is about to change forever now that AI can make Drake's songs better than Drake can. What are you talking about? Better songs than Drake can? It's a guy taking Drake's style and rapping like him. There's some bias here, a lot of bias, and here he is minimizing what Drake can do. And also, let's be clear. The song wasn't generated by AI. AI did not make a better Drake song than Drake can. A songwriter, an actual human, wrote and delivered those lyrics. The lyrics and cadence and melody and beat were not made by AI. So calm your little weird ass down, Nathan. Also, Grimes is a genius. Look, I like her approach. I wish sample clearance worked this way, but Grimes isn't signed to a label. She can do this, right? Drake can't do it. And even if he could, realistically, he makes infinitely more money doing other stuff. It should be an artist's choice whether or not they want to give other people, total strangers, access to their voice. So since we're on the subject of this ghostwriter song, let's get deeper into it. Again, no part of the actual music was created by AI. The person or the people behind this song are clearly good songwriters, and they do understand the music business. Aaron will explain more about this on the video I upload on Monday, which is 2 days from today's upload. Now, eventually, songs generated entirely by AI will be central to this conversation. But right now, everybody is up in arms over apps that mimic the voices of famous artists. We're not talking about AI generated melodies. We're not talking about AI generated beats. We're talking about vocal deep fakes. What about beats though? So let me compare two so-called AI beat-making platforms. One of them is pretty terrifying because the beats do sound great. They're easily some of the best AI beats that I've heard so far. But here's the problem. They're not actually AI generated. Here is Soundful. They're calling it an AI music generator. Let's listen to when they claim that none of these will get me in trouble. So let's just listen to hip hop. Or let's listen to songwriting. These are loops created by real musicians. They're not AI generated. Artificial intelligence algorithms did not create these out of nowhere. This is an AI assisted platform that assists users in putting these loops together in a coherent piece. Think way back when DAWs came with CDs full of loops and construction kits. It's kind of the same concept, just automated and dumbed down. When we look at the terms, because a lot of people say, no, this is AI generated. When we look at the terms of service on this site, I will show you why I believe this and why I stand on this belief. But right now, let's check out an actual AI generator that has a great interface. It's a full AI DAW, basically. I like control over my compositions, so this whole thing gives me anxiety, but I can see it working for some people. It's still not super user-friendly. I think a kid could learn it pretty quickly, but an adult who has never used a DAW before and starting from scratch would have some trouble with it. There's a learning curve. You as an end user don't have too much control over the compositions, but it does actually generate full beats for you that you can edit and export, including as MIDI. I don't know how their platform works, but it sounds like they have some pretty decent VST style instruments working for them. But again, these are templates, and so there's not much control over them. They're selecting the sounds for you, they're selecting the feel, and they're giving you templates. So right now, this is kind of the best that I've heard. Now, what are their terms? Basically, if you pay about $36 US a month, you can do whatever you want with these. Here's what's weird to me. They say, if you use the free version or the standard membership, the copyright is owned by the platform. However, the US Copyright Office says that content generated, art generated by AI entirely cannot be copyrighted. So maybe this platform is just saying, we're going to shoot first and ask questions later. Or maybe this stuff isn't actually fully AI generated and somehow circumvents this component of the US copyright law. Or They're just waiting for the US copyright law to change, and it's changing before our very eyes. But if you get, this $36 a month pro membership, you can basically generate 300 random tracks and own them 100%. Do whatever you want with them. And I guess that means you could theoretically make 30 sample packs a month with this program. They'd all sound kind of the same. So I wouldn't recommend doing that, but you could do that. Now, I don't personally feel threatened at all by this because this isn't the lane in which my music and signature sound lives. But things could change moving forward. If the right producers get involved, I can see AI programs becoming a lot better, making amazing sounding drums, even some better, more organic and soulful sounding chord progressions and melodies. Now, Soundful, let's go back to Soundful because their terms are terrifying. And I'll explain to you why I believe that they are not a true AI platform and that it's all loop based. Firstly, they make it clear that their platform isn't for rappers or songwriters. It's for use as background music in YouTube videos, film, vlogs, etc. But these terms and conditions here are a little weird and restrictive. Obviously, they reserve the right to change it at any time. And it says here, you may use the content online only and solely for your personal non-commercial use. This is also terrifying. Soundful does not represent or warrant that use of any content will not infringe rights of third parties. So that's a big reason why I think that this isn't an AI generating melodies and drum loops. I think it's actual drum loops and melodies created by musicians. And therefore, they're covering their asses here saying, well, hey, some of that stuff that we have in our system could infringe on someone's copyright. We don't know. Request to use the content for any purposes other than as permitted in this agreement should be. So like maybe you could record a song with this, but then that suggests to me that they're calling the shots, right? Who knows what those terms will be. And I don't even know what this means. We respect the intellectual property of others and require that our users do the same. You may not upload, embed, post, email, transmit, or otherwise make available any material that infringes any copyright, patent, trademark, trade secret, or other proprietary rights of any person or entity. We will terminate the accounts of repeat infringers. So does this mean that you can sign up as a creator and submit loops and stuff to them? Is that what that means? Yeah, also anything they deem as offensive, they can, I guess, I don't know, strike down. This is interesting. In addition, you may not, in connection with the use of the service, impersonate any person or entity or falsely misrepresent blah blah blah. I mean, that's interesting, right? When we're talking about the whole Drake and Weeknd Deepface story. Does that have anything to do with this? I don't know. But again, this is the platform that Universal Music Group has invested in. Disney's invested in them as well. You have UMG out there talking about we're anti-AI, we're pro-artists, yet they're investing in this service that claims to be an AI beat generator. This is going to, like I said, be a very interesting era. Now, as I said, this service is not marketed towards rappers and singers. This is the comment from AMI Beats, who is a producer who, well, we'll get into that. They say, I should probably just send an email, but as an AI developer, musician, and music producer, we already have developed an AI VST instrument. We officially launched in Q3. Oh, it's a VST. We received over $500,000 in pre-Series A funding to develop our software. All our data sets created were from paid and public domain copyright-free audio and media files, plus sample packs from subscription platforms that allow licenses for blah, blah, blah. We have trained more than 600,000 images so far and more than 200,000 piano audio MIDI files. Our first AI VST is the piano. This doesn't sound too different from the Unison MIDI packs and similar products. And there are AI VSTs left and right, the chord generators, the melody generators. Producers have been using that type of AI for a long time. I don't know how this will be different, but we'll see. As far as these text-to-generate AI tools, I think they need to be banned, as I believe they provide opportunities to infringe on an artist's name and likeness, i.e. in the style of or type beat. But to all the producers crying about AI taking your job, this is getting interested. Get your head out of the gutter. I don't think that's what that term means. 10% of the music business is actually based on music itself. Here we go with that narrative. The other 90% is based on relations, likeness, and marketing. Most producers with beat channels always post type beats music, which is always dick riding off the names of other famous and established artists. Established, not established. Just to be clear. But if humans do it, it's okay, but not AI. LOL. Okay, so as someone who uploads type beats to my, like, who am I dick writing when I put soulful type beat? You might have an answer. I've produced a couple records that Rick Ross rapped on, and so I'll make a Rick Ross type beat because I know his sound. I don't want to get into this. This is just a really stupid conversation, but this goes back to the beginning, where I talk about how people who are in favor of this whole AI takeover will use a whole bunch of techniques to try to devalue what producers do in order to justify what they, I think deep down inside, know is kind of grimy and gross. So I feel like this guy knows things are kind of grimy, and that's why he's being so aggressive with his language, you know, saying most producers are dick writers, most producers are just, you know, they have their heads in the gutters and they're crying and they're this and that. It's like, you bitch ass producers, you little hoe ass producers, you deserve this. You deserve to be replaced by AI. Stop being such a bitch. Stop being little crybabies about this stuff. You know, we're having a conversation. I think this is interesting. Personally, the way this gentleman is talking to the producer community turns me off. I'm not gonna like rush to purchase his product based on the way he's conducting himself and speaking to the very people he's marketing his product to. So I think right now we're in such a unique space, and there are a lot of distractions being put in front of our faces. I think this whole Drake thing, this whole Drake AI is somewhat of a distraction in the sense that we're not really talking about AI as much as we're talking about vocal mimicry. I think moving forward, a platform like a vocal mimicking software could assist songwriters quite a bit, because if you can write a Weeknd song, or you're trying to pitch a song to the Weeknd and you can record it in your voice and then mimic his voice for the final demo, that might be a lot more powerful to submit to him or his label or his A&R. Same with Drake. You know, a lot of these songwriters could start using these AI voice imitation programs to create more convincing demos. And then also when it comes to beats and copyright, intellectual property law, it's anybody's guess. It's so chaotic right now. Even the United States Copyright Office is making statements to the effect that they don't know what the hell they're going to do. You have Universal Music Group, the biggest and most powerful label on the planet, claiming they are all for artists and they're anti-artificial intelligence, while also investing in AI platforms. Things are weird. Again, I don't think this is the time for producers to abandon ship and just quit. But again, I can't tell you what to do. This video is not meant to demotivate you. It's meant to just give you a rundown of what's been going on lately and what I think it's going to mean for the music producer community. Hope you enjoy it. Till next time. Peace.